Imagine sitting through the longest NFL week in history only to lose at the very end. Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to another episode of Packcast, the podcast where you don't have to be a Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tim Grossi.
I'm sorry. I'm Jade Grossi. I'm just marveling here at the numbers. They look like they're closing in.
Just like my dignity. So, first of all, a confession. It seems that due to the eagle-eyedness of some commenters, there were mistakes.
What do you mean mistake?
There was a mistake last week, and there was a mistake back in week 9. Unfortunately, one, we gave both of ourselves a win, which was wrong. And then last week, I apparently gave myself a win. This was not intentional.
I smell a Cheeto.
Oh, maybe it's the deodorant. But that being said,
thank you to the people who are checking on these things.
You're banned.
Keeping things right.
For life.
Thank you.
Can never come back.
That's why we do this.
Like Simba, Lion King after Mufasa dies. Spoilers. It's from 1994. If you haven't seen the movie yet, then it's kind of on you.
So lost cause.
There's a new one, but it really wasn't as good. Really wasn't good. So I went 9-7 last week to go 116, 60, and 1 on the season, while Jade went 12-4, going a 106, 70, and 1 on the year. A difference of 10 games as we head into these final weeks of the NFL regular season. What's going to happen? Probably nothing good.
I'd be so curious. Do you keep the scores from the end of predictions every year to see if
No.
Am I getting better? Are
no
you
idea.
Getting worse?
Don't keep those kind of records.
Oh, okay.
You probably go back and see it on the video because the video would show it.
Yeah, probably.
That's a lot of effort, though.
Yeah.
Don't really feel like going back and doing that.
No.
Someone could probably do that and go in the comments.
No, we're not telling you to do it, though.
You should go do that.
No, don't do that.
Yep.
That's too much work.
Unless you're banned already because you noticed mistakes that I made. So then in that case, you can't go back because you're banned. So there's no Thursday night football game, and this is why it's coming out on Thursday, because the Baltimore Ravens had to freaking ruin everything, and everybody had to go and get the COVIDs. So we're just talking about the Sundays and the Mondays games to this a week. So that being said, let's get started with the first matchup of the week, and that's the New Orleans Saints taking on the Atlanta Falcons. The Saints basically pushed a kid in a wheelchair down a flight of stairs last week as they took on a Denver Bronco team who had to put a wide receiver as their quarterback and completed his first completion in the third quarter of that game. That game should have never been played. It was a joke, and good job, NFL. But the real story out of that is not only the defense playing really well, Taysom Hill did not look so good. Latavius Murray decided to rumble and tumble in himself into 2 touchdowns. But maybe there's some cracks there. Maybe the Saints could drop one to the Falcons. I hope so. The Falcons absolutely destroyed the Raiders. Oh, God. See, I actually forgot about that for a quick second because, I tried to push that in the back of my mind because I started Derek Carr last week.
Woof.
Woof indeed. Yeah, beating up on the Raiders 43-6. Where the hell has this Falcons team been? Now, is this a case of the Raiders just being that bad, or is it the Falcons going, oh yeah, we're going to be good just to knock us out of a top 10 draft pick when it comes to the draft? It might be that one. If the Falcons team from last week shows up, they have a good shot at winning this game. Can Taysom Hill deliver the W against a divisional opponent? I think it's going to be a little bit tougher than people anticipate. But that being said, I'm still going to roll with the Saints.
Me too.
Not being terrible into our next game, you got the Cleveland Browns taking on the Tennessee Titans. The Cleveland Browns are putting together a little win streak going on.
Yeah.
They got 8 wins.
Woo!
That's the same as the Packers.
That's more than I have in fantasy.
I feel like that's illegal. The Browns aren't really doing anything amazing, but Nick Chubb is. Over 100 yards, 1 touchdown last week. The guy is
getting into his groove.
He's a stud. He's a real stud. Are the Browns for real? That's a tough question.
They are definitely a real football team. And a color.
Taking on the Tennessee Titans, who slapped the ever-living crap out of the Indianapolis Colts. Speaking of power running games, Derrick Henry had 3 touchdowns on his way to glory. So this should actually be a tale of 2 runners. Now, of course, Ryan Tannehill can decide to throw the ball to A.J. Brown, which I hope he does because I started him in fantasy this week. But this could be a pretty darn close game. And this is a game for the Browns that they need to win to really legitimize themselves as actual contenders this year. This might be that game. So with that being said, I don't think the Browns will do that, and I'm going to go with the Titans.
You know what? I have faith. I'm going with the Browns.
Firing our GM and head coach into our next game, you have the Detroit Lions taking on the Chicago Bears. They both suck. They're both so bad. You remember when the Bears were 5-1?
I don't know.
They thought they were a good team. The Lions decided to do what they should have done, I don't know, like 2 years ago and fire Matt Patricia and also got a good old GM Quinn out of there, while the Bears are still rolling with Mitch Trubisky as their starter because Nick Foles is injured. This is going to be a terrible game. I honestly don't know who's going to win it. The Bears have a good defense, but not against the Packers. If Akeem Hicks is back, that'll definitely help them. I'm going to give this to the Bears because I'm going to say that Mitch Trubisky just does amazingly, just for the Raffles.
I'm going to go with the Bears because it's a home field advantage.
Joe Burrow, listen to our next game. You have the Cincinnati Bengals taking on the Miami Dolphins. The Bengals, they don't have Joe Burrow. And while they put a decent performance out there, nothing really to write home about. The Dolphins, Tua Tagovailoa Kaboa Abraham Lincoln logging into potentially a start next week. It depends. Apparently, it's going to be a game time decision. But I think Fitzmagic is going to do enough to hold the Bengals at bay. So I'm going to go with the aquatic mammals, the Dolphins.
Me too.
Roaring our way into mediocrity, you got the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Minnesota Vikings.
Which are a pain in my butt. I would like to continuously support them. But I feel like when I choose them, they lose. And when I don't choose them, they win. So what do I do?
Not root for the Vikings.
Yeah, but it's the Jaguars.
No, I was just saying in general, don't root for the Vikings.
Yeah, but for this?
So you're open to not rooting for them generally?
I mean, I like Vikings and I like purple.
But you don't necessarily like the Vikings team.
I mean, they can be a big disappointment sometimes.
The Jaguars came real close to beating the Cleveland Browns last week, and Mike Glennon wound up getting the start, but couldn't get it done, while the Vikings were able to pull off a 1-point victory against the Carolina Panthers because they couldn't kick field goals. But then again, the Vikings are familiar with not knowing how to kick field goals. Yeah, the Vikings should win this game. They should.
I'm going to pick them too. Don't lose.
Oh my God, if they lose to the Jaguars, I will just die
so
happily.
Mad.
One of 600 kids into our next game, you got Phillip Rivers and the Indianapolis Colts taking on the Houston Texans. The Colts, we talked about this, got slapped around by the Tennessee Titans, or more specifically, got slapped around by Derrick Henry, while the Texans ran all over the Lions. You got the Lions head coach and GM fired, Houston, so good job, Texans. You did it. However,
Texans go big. That's what you do in Texas.
Nah, both those teams are going home. Meanwhile, Will Fuller got suspended for 6 games for violating the substance policy for the NFL, and so he's going to be out the rest of the year. There goes my fantasy team, and thank God the Packers didn't trade a second-round pick for him. I would say it could go either way, but the Colts really need to win this game, and if they don't, then they're an embarrassment. So, Colts.
I'll go with the Texans.
Ooh. Getting blown out by the Falcons into our next game. You got Derek Carr and the Vegas Raiders taking on the winless New Jersey Jets. That's right, Jets fans. What do you have?
Green.
Yeah, gangrene. And not in like the slogan of like gangrene. No, like the disease.
The thing that needs to be amputated.
Yeah. Which is basically your entire team. And Adam Gase. The Raiders, if they lose to the Jets, that will be the biggest ruffle of the week. The Jets, honestly, I see this might be their last opportunity to actually win a game this season. Raiders coming off a very disappointing loss. Maybe the morale's not really high. This is the chance for the Jets to strike. Can you win a single game this season?
Really, it's for either of them because
The Raiders, if they lose,
right, but that's what I'm
bog of
saying.
eternal
is like,
stench.
The Raiders really need to win
They
for
do.
the sake of their pride.
Well, they also need to go to the playoffs too.
Okay, and the Jets need to win, I guess, also for the sake of their pride.
Moral victories.
Yeah. I'm going with the Raiders.
Yeah, I'll go with the Raiders too. Somehow stumbling into a win into our next game, you got the New Jersey Giants taking on the Seattle Seahawks. And for those reasons, the Seahawks are going to win.
Seahawks.
But seriously, Daniel Jones is probably not playing. The Giants aren't that good. They're better than a bunch of teams in the NFC East. They're actually number one in the NFC East. They could actually make the playoffs, which is so bad. But the Seahawks, they need to win. I'd be okay if the Seahawks lost because I hate the Seahawks, but I don't know what the hell they are into our next game. You got the LA Rams taking on the Arizona Cardinals. The Rams,
What happened to them? They used to be a great team.
it's like trying to predict the stock market. It's like, you're like, oh, they're on the up. Oh, no. They lost to a god-awful team in Nick Mullins. Oh, there they go again, beating the Buccaneers. Oh, no, they just suck. What the hell is going on? Jared Goff couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, and that's only after he fumbled every freaking time and threw 2 interceptions. What's going on, Jared Goff? Now, Sean McVay did say, he needs to stop turning the ball over. And then when Jared Goff was asked about that criticism, he quoted, "I'm a big boy. I can take it." So, my question to you, Jared Goff, you still feeling like a big boy? Because Kyler Murray and those Arizona Cardinals are going to come to play. Now, they're also coming off a loss against the New England Patriots, who is another team I can't figure out. This is going to be a close divisional matchup. I could see them splitting because they still have to play each other twice, but I'm going to give Kyler Murray the edge here and go with the Cardinals. Jalen Ramsey, DeAndre Hopkins. That's some good TV right there.
Who's that?
Who's who?
Those two people you just said.
DeAndre Hopkins is a wide receiver for the Arizona Cardinals, and Jalen Ramsey is a corner for the LA Rams. They both used to play each other when DeAndre Hopkins was on the Texans twice a year, and Jalen Ramsey was on the Jaguars because they're both in the AFC South. But now they're over in the NFC West. Two worlds collide once again.
I'm going to go with the Rams.
Going 9 for 18, 84 yards, and 2 interceptions into our next game, you got Cam Newton and the New England Patriots taking on Chargers. Yeah. Chargers, what happened?
What happened?
That was bad offense. That was real bad against the Bills.
That's okay. The Bills are great.
Bad. Patriots, they somehow come out with a W. I know that the Cardinals kicker missed one, but this could go either way. The Chargers used to blowing games, and the Patriots are so inconsistent, I truly don't even know what to say about them. The Chargers are going to go for moral victories here, but I say Bill Belichick is going to pull it off, and the Patriots are going to somehow be like, we're not dead yet, because you got to double tap those mofos. I'm going with the Patriots.
I'm also going with the Patriots.
Then our 425 game, we got the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers coming off a 4-touchdown performance as they decimated the Chicago Bears, one of the best defenses in the league, while the Eagles are coming off a pretty pitiful performance against the Seattle Seahawks, though was saved at the very end for a Richard Rodgers Hail Mary. With a Richard Rodgers Hail Mary. Will he throw a Hail Mary again against the Green Bay Packers? No. Because Richard knows.
No.
He already did that 5 years ago today.
Oh, yeah.
5 years ago today was the Motown Miracle. Just turned 32. Does he have another vintage moment in him? It's gonna get there. It is caught! Richard Rodgers. I've watched that video an inappropriate amount of times. The Packers should be able to defeat the Philadelphia Eagles. However, the Eagles were able to steal one on Thursday night last year against the Packers, and they should have won that game too. But I think the Packers offense is going to come out wheeling and dealing, while the Eagles defense looked pretty good. For the most part against the Seahawks. I think the Packers should take this game.
Packers.
And on Sunday Night Football, can't wait for this divisional matchup. You got the Broncos.
Woo!
What you got going on
Broncos.
there? Taking on the Chiefs, who literally just slapped the ever-living crap out of Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, and it was beautiful. Yeah, the Chiefs are going to win this game.
Yeah, they are.
There's just no analysis. Patrick Mahomes is going to hurt you. Then the first of our doubleheader Monday night game, you got the Washington Wildflower football team taking on the undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers able to pull off a sloppy win against the Baltimore Ravens on Wednesday afternoon football, which is a statement that's said now in 2020. The Washington football team is right there. They're nipping at the heels of Bruce and the New Jersey Giants. They're right there. Can their dominant defense get it done and shock the world and beat the Steelers? I'm not going to lie. I'm hoping for it. Do I think it's going to happen? No. Steelers.
Steelers.
Then finally, what should have been a good game if the 49ers weren't all on IR, you got the Buffalo Bills taking on the San Francisco 49ers. The Bills, Josh Allen played okay. Singletary, I think, had about 80 yards. But the 49ers, yeah, they're pretty broken inside. They were able to beat the Rams, though, last week, so maybe they have a vintage moment left in them. That was another Motown Miracle reference. Screw you, Lions. The Bills should win this game, though, and if they don't, then we need to have some serious talks. So, the Bills.
Bills.
So those are our predictions for Week 13 in the NFL. Let us know what you think down in the comments below. You can always find me at TomGrossiComedy.com or at TomGrossiComedy, all social media, see down below. Check out podcasts on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Spotify, and of course YouTube. And a big shout and thank you to all the patrons over at patreon.com/TomGrossiComedy and the YouTube members. But thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi.
I'm Jade Grossi.
And as always, go Pack Go.